Hey guys, welcome to another pickups video. It's been a while since I uploaded, been collecting since about mid-October, so we have quite the backlog of games to get through here,
67.
to be precise. Of course, our bunch of Switch games is up first. Tomb Raider 1, 2, and 3 remastered. Here we have the triple pack of classic original Tomb Raider games. I was never a Tomb Raider guy, but I'm a sucker for these collections. So I've heard good things about this collection and how they've been touched up with some modern quality of life updates and updated visuals also. So I'm pretty pumped to have this to my collection. Lots of fans of the Tomb Raider series and many other games have come out in this franchise that I've never really played. So I think this is going to be the perfect opportunity to experience them. Bendy and the Ink Machine. I know my nephew really loves this game, and there's people out here that really enjoy this kind of quirky but uh, scary game. I guess not really sure what it's about. I know you're kind of puzzle solving, and there are like monsters chasing you around. So it sounds pretty interesting. I know there's a part two. I don't think it's come out physically. So I wanna check out what this game's all about. The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom. This is kind of sort of a spiritual successor to Link's Awakening, the HD remaster that came out on the Switch some years ago now, and it kind of has that toy diorama look in the graphics department, which I was really fond of. I think that game looks fantastic. And in this game, you take control of the titular Zelda and use some of her magic powers to navigate the terrain and solve puzzles and stuff like that. I've heard pretty good things about this game. It's a brand new iteration in the Zelda franchise. This isn't a remaster of any kind. It's just a brand new title. Yeah, looks pretty interesting. Sky Oceans Wings for Hire, published by P Cube here. This one really piqued my interest. Kind of a lesser known RPG. Check out the cover art. It looks great, kind of like anime ish. So, from what I've gathered, this game is an RPG, but most of the battles happen in the skies. So you're like in an airship, and I'm not really sure if they're turn based or some sort of deviation from that formula, but very interesting, very novel concept, I think. Some people were saying that it's somewhat an ode to Skies of Arcadia, another game which I'm looking out for. Um, and I've heard it's decent, but it's much lesser known. No one really talks about this game, and that's part of the reason why I wanted to add it to my collection. I feel like this might be a little bit harder to attain in the future, as with all physical media, right? So this seemed quite interesting. Mario and Luigi Brothership, the brand new entry into the Mario and Luigi saga, which has usually been like a turn based RPG, and this is following that formula also. I've heard they switched game engines for this particular game. I think they were using Unreal Engine. Yeah, they're using the Unreal Engine, and that system hasn't been optimized too well for Switch, so there are some performance issues with this game that don't take away a lot from the actual game, which I've heard is pretty great. I got to check out just about 10 minutes of this to see if I wanted to get into a Mario and Luigi RPG, and from what I could tell, it looked really neat. Yeah, the graphics look cool. There are some hitches with the frame rate. which might deter from my experience at least, because I'm just used to Nintendo games being hyper polished, and the fact that this is a Mario and Luigi title and it's not like 100% kind of takes away from it a little bit. But I had to add this game to the collection so that I could stay up to date with the Mario and Luigi franchise. Donkey Kong Country returns HD, so it returns again, right? Because first it was returns on the Wii, that was a big deal, and then they ported it over to the 3DS, and now it's here in HD, right? Monkey Game, love Donkey Kong. Just recently finished Tropical Freeze actually on the Switch, and I'm not sure if this game is easier than Tropical Freeze, which that game was pretty challenging. Nothing too crazy, but if you're trying to get all the collectibles and be a completionist, that's when that game gets really, really hard. And I heard that this game has made some improvements over the waggle and motion controls that the Wii initially forced you to use, right? So you might find that playing this game on the Switch might be the best way to play Donkey Kong Country Returns. Yeah, looking forward to playing this one at some point soon. Battle Princess Madeline. And we have the Royal Edition here, which is pretty cool, and I'll tell you why. This is essentially an ode to the Ghosts and Goblins series, right? The gameplay is pretty much the same as that franchise. Pretty cool. I was playing this with my arcade stick, and it's just, very challenging. I didn't get past the second stage. Pretty much a one-shot kill unless you have some sort of armor, which might give you another couple hit points, but that's pretty much it. And the game just spits you out to the very beginning of the stage until you get a game over. But the visuals look great. The gameplay is fun. If you're in for a challenge, and if you love Super Ghosts and Goblins or Super Ghouls and Goblins, check out this game, because it's basically more of that. Just, fresh coat of paint, I guess. Even though it still adopts that same visual style. The Royal Edition is cool because you got to be the king instead of the Battle Princess Madeline here. You're King Daddy. That's his name. And he uses a sword, and you can't get any other weapon. She can, right? You can upgrade or pick up different weapons such as lances and, I don't know, other throwables and stuff like that. But King Daddy only uses a sword, so it's kind of a little bit more difficult since you're in close quarter combat. But a fantastic game. I really enjoyed my couple hours with it, and I'll be going back to this one some more. This one comes with a instruction manual, which is always nice, so that was pretty cool. Happy to have this limited run release in my collection. Karate Kid Street Rumble. The copy I got from my local game store came packaged in like thin cellophane, and thus it looks like it's been water damaged. But besides the horrible packaging and kind of the state in which this game is in, I guess it gives it some personality. But this game is fantastic. I think it's an underrated beat 'em up, but it's very much an arcade beat 'em up with pixelated graphics, retro style, the whole bit. And I had a blast playing this game on hard mode. I got stuck on the last mission because it's just a gauntlet of difficult enemies. Did I say I was playing it with my arcade stick? That's such an awesome way to experience this game. I've actually been using my arcade stick for a lot of games that are similar in style to this, to kind of get like an arcade feeling when I'm playing it. And it really makes all the difference. The control style that you use in a game, I think, influences the amount of fun that you might have with it. Regardless, I would have had a blast with this game using a regular controller. But yeah, guys, you should check this game out if you're a fan of beat 'em ups. It's very much in line with the modern retro beat 'em ups that are coming out nowadays. So if you like that sort of stuff, like Shredder's Revenge, look no further than Karate Kid Street Rumble. I actually went ahead and I beat this game on the PS5 with my brother. We weren't playing on hard, but hey, I got to experience the whole game, and it was a blast playing co-op. Maybe I will gather the courage to finish my hard playthrough here on the Switch version, but this is a fantastic game. Double Dragon and Kunil Kun Retro Brawler.
Bundle.
Man, that's a mouthful. So I had been keeping my eyes peeled for a copy of this limited run release. My local game shop had like the giant limited edition boxed version of it, and it was way too expensive and just too massive, to be honest. But here is just kind of the standard release. Has its manual. Check out the inside. That looks awesome. And it's a collection of 18 previously unreleased. Like half of them only came out in Japan. But, this collection has some overlap with games that I already own. But I mainly got this game for River City Ransom, which is an awesome game. And that's kind of it. You'll see why here in a bit. But there's some other stuff on here. Just bang for your buck, really. 18 titles. Sign me up. I love these bundles. Very cool.
The Double Dragon Collection.
Here on the Switch. Oh man, this is an awesome collection. You get how many? Six games. Super Double Dragon Advance, which is the highlight for me, to be honest, even though I had purchased that title maybe a couple weeks before this collection was announced, and I was kind of kicking myself because Double Dragon Advance isn't too cheap. But it's cool to own that one too, and here I could somewhat preserve the older software with a nice little collection that has other cool titles in it. Double Dragon 3, The Revenge, Double Dragon 3, The Sacred Stones, or sorry, that was Double Dragon 2, The Revenge, Double Dragon 3, The Sacred Stones, and Double Dragon 4. Has save states, all that good stuff. The Double Dragon collection here is a really awesome collection of retro beat 'em ups, so it was right up my alley. I had to have this in my collection. Mutant Football League Dynasty Edition. This includes all the DLC. I have no idea what this game is about, but cousin DJ, shout out to DJ. He donated this game to the collection here, so now it's being featured on the video. I guess he didn't really have any further interest in the game, and he just wanted to give it away. He said it might make for some good
Streaming content.
So if this is some sort of like football simulation game, like I'm not sure if you take like direct control of the players or you just kind of hit go and I don't know. It's automated. Seems very interesting. I'll check it out at some point. Thanks, DJ. Cult of the Lamb. I have heard so much of this game, but I haven't watched too much gameplay because I kind of don't want to spoil the surprise for me. I know that it's kind of like a dark game. You might recruit villagers and then you have to sacrifice some. I don't know, but back in 2024 when this released, 2023 I guess, this game was the talk of the town, and people couldn't get enough of it. And that's why it's in the collection. I got to check it out and see for myself. It looks very interesting. I had no interest at first, but just the more and more I kept hearing about it and people talking about it, that it pretty much justified the purchase for me. Gibbon. Beyond the Trees, a super rare release game which came with its nice little monkey postcard here. You could punch the monkey out of this this card stock here, but I'm not going to do that. That's cute. A short game, I've heard. I like to do Monkey Mondays on my streams, right? We play a monkey themed game on Mondays occasionally, and this just fits the bill to a T. Came with cards. We're going to take a look at those. And some bonus cards or something. Ocho, heard this game is pretty interesting. It's like a Hotline Miami in black and white with splashes of red. And here's a reminder to be kind to your rainforests. Yeah, this game is about deforestation. I haven't actually opened up the cards. So let's see what random monkey cards we get. Never seen these. What do we have? We have just like the title card. The Untouched Jungle. A Destroyed Jungle. That's sad. And Town. Aw, no actual monkey card. But yeah, in this game you just basically swing around the trees and get from point A to point B. And fight lumberjacks or something. But yeah, looks very interesting. And I love monkeys. Hot Blood, published by Funbox Media. Oh man, you know that gaming company, it comes out with some pretty silly titles, such as Perky Little Things, and some other eShop trash, probably, right, on the Switch. This game reminds me a lot of Drunken Fist, right? I think that's basically just reused assets from from that game. And you're this chick, you're trying to save your boyfriend inside a mall that's just overrun by zombies. Some extremely explicit and suggestive themes in this game. Definitely 18 plus. I had my fun with it. I beat it last year in a few sittings. You can probably just beat the whole game in one sitting if you're that bored. But that's not to say this game was terrible by any stretch of the imagination. I had genuine fun with it. I usually like those silly ragdoll games, so I had fun kicking and punching zombies' heads off. It was quite a blast, and I love the cover art for this. This is definitely a gem. So if you get the physical version of this game, you unlock a couple different skins for the main character, which essentially put her completely nude. And the digital version of this game does not include those. There's some keychains inside this case, which I will not showcase. You can check those out on the Discord, if you know what I'm saying. Iron Meat! Finally got my copy from Strictly Limited of Iron Meat. And with the customary postcard here, featuring one of the boss characters. This game is badass. I loved it so much that I had to kind of do the whole double dip and get it digitally, so this is going to remain sealed. But this is essentially retro Contra style gameplay goodness. It is so much fun. There's a couch co-op on it, which I haven't experimented with actually. But this game is amazing. If you guys are big retro Contra style fans, get this game. This is pretty much that. I'm playing it on hard mode, which just lessens the amount of lives that you have per stage. Right? If you were to play on easy, I think you get like 20. Play on hard, you get 8 lives. And I've just been savoring and taking my time with this game, as I do usually with games that I really enjoy. I don't blast through them. But I've been kind of stuck on this one level, and just very much enjoying the experience so far. This game is so good. I highly recommend Iron Meat. Almost sort of done with the Switch games. We have the Retro Realms double feature with Halloween and Ash versus Evil Dead. Quite the surprise release of 2024. one of probably many. Uh, this game was surprising because, well, it's featuring two famous horror franchises, and it comes with some cards. They're not too exciting, so we won't go through them, but they're retro pixelated side-scrolling action games. Almost beat 'em ups, but not really. They're more like level-based action platformers, I guess. And you could either choose to play the Halloween arcade cabinet or the Ash vs. Evil Dead arcade cabinet. The gameplay between both games is pretty much the same. They even have interchangeable characters, which are available on both arcade cabinets. So essentially, you're just getting
Double the levels.
right. Uh, yeah, really fun, gory, and neat. Play this game if you like retro style action games. Very cool. Very just a surprising release. Really, you don't see these things come out too much nowadays. Forgive me, Father. Oh man, I've been streaming this game and having a blast with this cell shaded boomer shooter. It is so much fun. Very violent, very difficult. But there's a part two that is now on my wish list because of how much fun I'm having with the first part. We're making some good progress on that one over on the streams, and I'm looking forward to playing more of it. Kind of has like this Lovecraftian theme to the whole storyline and enemy types and stuff like that. You have Cthulhu's and evil priests and stuff. So, really fun game. The gunplay is great. The level of difficulty is great. I'm having a ton of fun with this one. Midnight Fight Express, limited run release published by Humble Games. This game really piqued my interest because it was kind of like an isometric, polygonal brawler. Yeah, highly customizable. Create a character. You can buy outfits and tattoos and that sort of thing on your main character and progress your way through the story, which is pretty cool. Level based, right? Mission based game, I should say, and a ton of fun. Like the combat is pretty intuitive. It feels like an action movie when you're in the midst of a brawl with several enemies trying to swarm you, shoot their guns at you, and then you can pick up their guns and use them against them, and melee weapons, and some pretty brutal executions in a game that's has a simplistic look to it. Kind of has like a cyberpunk feel to it with the synthy music. It just checked all the right boxes for me, and streamed it a couple times. I need to pick it back up, but definitely a game that you don't a game style maybe that you don't encounter too frequently nowadays, and this is a good one. So pick it up if you like 3D brawlers. Dragon Quest III, the HD 2D remake. Yeah, Dragon Quest is a very famous franchise. I've only really had experience with 12 briefly. It's great. And here we have the Octopath Traveler visual style, right, implemented into Dragon Quest III, which they will do for parts 1 and 2 as well at some point this year. But here is the third one. Many people's favorites, I think, in the franchise. Very cool to add this to the collection. At some point, I need to find the time to play like the seminal RPGs from the days of yore, right? The ones that crafted the RPG genre. Yeah, this is one of them. Looks really cool. Last Switch game, finally. We have Darkest Dungeon 2. That's right. This came in like a big box set, which is kind of silly because it's just an empty void here. But that's because it comes with like some, I don't know, some paper craft materials inside of it. Brutally tough rogue light RPG turn-based dungeon crawling thing with a bleak visual style. Um, I had part one, so I had to get part two. This was a Christmas gift from my parents, so shout out to you guys. Thank you for completing the Darkest Dungeon series in my game collection. I'll check them out at some point. It looks really cool. I got a whole bunch of PS4 games this time around, gang, so I hope you're comfy. Blood and Truth. This is technically a PlayStation VR game. It's required to play this game. When this game came out, a lot of people were very happy with the final product because it felt like a fully fleshed out experience on the PlayStation VR. A lot of people said it was similar to an action movie, and that's basically what compelled me to get this game. So, yeah. The only thing is, I don't know if this has PSVR 2 compatibility. I doubt it does. But what that means is I need to dig out my old PSVR and get the dongle for the PS5 that makes it compatible with that, and just like power up the wands, and it's like it's kind of a hassle to boot up the original VR at this point. So here's to hoping for a PSVR 2 compatibility patch or something, because I really want to play this game. It looks neat. Check this out. Check this out. After more than a year of waiting, we get Blood Rain 1 and 2 revamped. A box set of the PS4 versions of both games. I had ordered this through my local game shop via limited run, and they just took forever to release this. I thought they had completely forgotten to ship it, but my brother's a big fan of the Blood Rain series, and I hopefully they've ironed out the kinks, some of the issues that the modern ports had upon release. But I definitely want to dive into this series and see what it's all about. Some hack and slash gunplay seems pretty cool. Sword of the Vagrant, published by Red Art Games. Red Art was having an awesome sale, and you'll see the next title was part of that sale, but scooped up a couple games from them, and this one is a cel-shaded, side-scrolling hack and slash. Think Dragon's Crown. That's what this game really reminds me of. Played it briefly again, just to check it out. Shout out to my wife. These were birthday presents. This one and the next one that I'm about to show you. But played it briefly to check it out. Had fun. I can say that this is going to be a solid game. So I'm looking forward to diving back into this one. Metalloid Origin. And yeah, I had to take advantage of the sale that was going on at Red Art. And this was amongst one of the possible pickups. Looked up the gameplay, and it looks like some Mega Man style stuff. And at the time, I was on a big Mega Man kick. So I decided to pick this one up. Looks pretty interesting. Characters look kind of weird, but I heard the gameplay was supposed to be pretty good. Metalloid Origin. The Wolf Among Us, a Telltale game series game. A recommendation by my brother. He said that these Telltale games, namely the Walking Dead series that was featured on a previous pickups video, he said that if I would enjoy those games, I should definitely get this one. I heard there's a part 2 coming out at some point this year. I myself haven't played too many of those, just like narrative games in which you pick options that heavily influence the outcome of certain scenes and stuff like that, and your choices follow you along throughout the entire playthrough of the game or the series of games that you're playing, which is pretty neat. But I wanted to check this one out. Cover looks awesome. Let's see what it's all about. The Evil Within. Another recommendation by my brother. This one came with the cool lenticular cover. It's kind of terrifying. So, a third person shooting survival horror game. I think this game was trying to emulate Resident Evil 4 at the time, or kind of like replicate that sort of game, right? And heard the game could be pretty terrifying. I'm excited to dive into this one and the sequel too. And here we have the sequel, The Evil Within 2. Yeah, my brother said that there's some annoying invisible enemies in this game, and I, being the scaredy cat that I am with horror games, I think invisible enemies sound even worse for me. But lots of praise towards this series of just two games. To my knowledge, there isn't a third. Published by Bethesda, actually. And somewhat excited to jump into these, not completely, because I know I'll need a spare pair of pants. But yeah, the Evil Within series complete. Exophobia. Man, I was looking for this game for quite a while. It's a retro style first person shooter. Like the graphics are very primitive. They made them look extremely pixelated, but uh, the color palette makes it kind of like elevates the look into this weird like space station sci-fi horror sort of thing. Uh, I've played this game for a couple hours, and it's really fun. I love the visual style. I think that's the main attraction here, and the gunplay feels solid. Lots of puzzle solving essentially in this game. You're kind of stranded on a spaceship or a base somewhere in outer space, and there's obviously aliens that have invaded, and you're killing them and solving puzzles. And the game doesn't really hold your hand too much, so it's up to you to figure it out. But really cool. I'm glad to add this to my collection. Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics. Wow. This game is really cool. Just a collection of retro Marvel vs. Capcom fighting games, and the awesome inclusion of The Punisher, the arcade perfect port of this game, and you can co-op that beat 'em up, which is really awesome. But one of the main motivators for getting this game was obviously Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I never had the original version of that game, and it's quite pricey. So to have it on a collection featuring other awesome games is quite the deal. And I was on a fighting game kick because of this game and having a blast playing it. Man, that final boss, though, in Marvel vs. Capcom 2, coming from a fighting game noob such as myself, it was so hard. I couldn't beat that final boss. Maybe someday, but I love the gameplay. It's so much fun. The visuals are awesome. The music is funky. Yeah, really cool. This version comes with a full color comic, like a mini comic, and it also had a sticker on the cellophane. I like to put them inside the game case, so I have them very much complete. Yeah, really cool collection of games here. I opted to get the PS4 version of it because I don't know. I'm still buying a lot of games for PS4 if they're available on that platform, even though there's the PS5 version. I could probably upgrade this. Another fighting game that is nowhere near as good as the collection that I just showed. We have Blazing Strike, but it's not as good because it was developed single-handedly by one guy. He did everything. And when you play someone else's passion project, I feel like it elevates the experience so much more, right? This person was responsible for the visuals, the programming, the music, voice acting, or maybe hiring a friend to be the girls or something. I don't know, but it's neat. It's not half bad. I actually had way too much fun with this game, I think. Um, sure, it could be rough around the edges sometimes, or some of the backgrounds are ugly, but I feel like the characters are cheesy, uh, cheesy enough to be endearing, and I like this game. I like this game. A lot of people will say that the price tag isn't justified for an indie fighting game, but then don't buy it. I guess this game is cool. I'll leave it at that. If you've played Blazing Strike, let me know. Now I know if you're like a fighting game snob, you might hate this game because you've played much better, just objectively better games. But this isn't a bad game at all. I might play it soon, actually. Yeah. Well, like it, Blazing Strike. Judgment. Uh, yeah, I think this game has. Is it a parallel universe to the Yakuza franchise? Not really sure. A 3D brawler of sorts. I've been looking out for this game for a long time, just because a sequel came out shortly after the original came out, and everyone was ranting and raving about how good the games were. So kind of had to just jump on it. So of course, I had to secure Lost Judgment, which is the sequel, and I forgot where I bought these games, but there's just a massive sale, and I got both for like the price of half, so I had to do it. Evil West, published by Focus Entertainment. I gotta shout out Cousin DJ again because this was a recommendation that he had when this game was available as a free game for PlayStation Plus. He said, "Dude, you need to download this game and stream it because I think you might like it." And I don't know why I thought that this game was a first-person Western shooter or something, but it's not really that at all. It's more of a third person. I don't want to say Souls like. I really don't want to say Souls like because everyone just kind of classifies third person action slashers as that. I don't even think the progression system has anything to do with the Souls formula, but you kind of get the idea, right? It's an over the top third person action game in which you're like Van Helsing or something, killing werewolves and vampires in the Wild West as like you're like a frontiersman that kills vampires, and it's really sweet because you have your short ranged combat and your long ranged guns, so you can mix and match and do, like the action is really cool. um a fantastic surprise, honestly. I had no idea this game was going to be this cool, and I'm very much looking forward to clearing out my backlog some more so that I could jump into Evil West. I played it with my brother for about I'd say maybe 2 hours, and those 2 hours were a lot of fun. Really cool game. Get Evil West if you haven't already. Gravity Rush Remastered here on the PS4. So this game originally was on the Vita, right? On PlayStation Vita. And I think this is part 2 that still hasn't made its way to the consoles. But this game is a GameStop exclusive. They probably have a million of them in their back room, but they only ever put out one, and they mark it as used, even though it's probably new. But they'll get more money because they see the market prices for used Gravity Rushes. I digress. An interesting action platformer, I guess, with some gravity-defying stunts and mobility options. Looking forward to checking this one out at some point. Signalis. Ooh, yeah, this game. I had my sights on this game for a while now as well. It's, I guess you could call it a pixelated isometric perspective survival horror game with some very disturbing themes. You're this chick, android, maybe not an android, haven't played enough to know, stranded on a space station, I think, and you're just trying to piece the puzzle together as to why you're there and why everyone's dead. And now there's monsters wandering around. Very, very cool. A lot of people loved this game when it came out. It was kind of like a cult classic. So here it is in the collection. Signalis. Infamous First Light. That's right. European version, because this kind of DLC expansion only came out in Europe physically. So now I have my Infamous series complete because I have the trilogy, then Second Son, and here's First Light. You take control of this chick, and you shoot purple lightning now. Yeah, pretty neat pickup, to be honest. I'm happy to add this to my collection. Yeah, it's just not too common, I guess. So import yourself a copy of this game so that you can complete your Infamous collection. And I've heard it's good. It's good, just like the rest of the series. So here it is. And it looks like this is the last PS4 game, Daymare 1994 Sandcastle. Yeah, just kind of a GS2 games. So a budget survival horror game-ish. I heard lots of cheap jump scares more than anything in this game. So many jump scares that you just come to expect them, and it's no longer jump scary and more annoying. But I had the original Daymare, so I had to get the sequel, of course, because I'm a crazed collector. And yeah, you know, horror games also tend to get a little bit harder to find as the years go on and they become sought after. So, you know, I just had to scoop myself a copy of this before it disappeared. Let's do some PS3 games. We got Sealed Retro City Rampage DX. This must be some sort of reprint at some point. I knew that Retro City Rampage with a different cover art was extremely sought after on the PS4. I think it was one of the first really rare PS4 games. So here's the PS3 port. I believe this is available on other platforms, but this is just a very, very retro style Grand Theft Auto clone, I guess, right? With lots of pop culture references, missions, and, you know, slapstick humor. It doesn't take itself too seriously, but a fun playthrough with some cool references that you can get a kick out of. And then we have Shakedown Hawaii, the sequel to Retro City Rampage. Somewhat. This one takes, instead of the 8-bit graphics, it does 16-bit. So like Super Nintendo style Grand Theft Auto experience here. And in a tropical setting, this time in Hawaii. I heard this game was so much fun. I believe there's a Wii U version for it, but I got it here factory sealed for the PS3. We got Fear 3. So now I have completed the Fear trilogy in terms of collecting. I'm still actually playing through the first game. And yeah, I heard this one was pretty good. I can't recall now out of the trilogy which one of the games was the weakest one. It was either 2 or 3, but who cares? Like, I have the whole series now, and I could play them to my heart's content at whatever pace I want. Very neat that I have this one now. Last PS3 game, Split Second, published by Disney. Like, what? A racing game with many action movie moments, I guess. Like a lot of cool, big set pieces. And I've recently been on somewhat of a racing kick playing games like in the MotorStorm series. Namely Apocalypse, which has a lot of destruction as well. So this is going to come right on time for some more action-packed races, and yeah, we'll see what it's all about. Let's get the PS5 games out of the way here. Silent Hill 2, right? The remaster on the PS5 has made quite the splash amongst fans of the series, making it a lot more maybe accessible, more action. You can beat monsters up with sticks and stuff, and a fantastic re-release of a beloved horror survival horror game. So happy to have this. I streamed it just to check out the beginning of the game, and I almost got sucked in, which is uncharacteristic of me because, again, I'm not a huge fan of horror games. I'm scared to death of them. But this one kind of came back to mind a few times, like, I should keep playing that one. So who knows? I might. Squirrel with a gun. This is more of a meme game. Totally got this from VGP when they were having a big sale as well. Just a very silly sandbox open world game with some missions, I guess, right? To kind of steer you in the right direction here. You're a squirrel with a gun, wreaking havoc and all sorts of mischief. Might just keep this one sealed, to be honest. Heard a lot of performance issues on the thing, so who knows? Maybe 5 years from now, when I finally want to check it out, it'll be sorted out, but kind of had to have it. Kind of had to have this quirky game in my collection. High on Life. Game of the Year edition. They did that. That was a joke. So this game's supposed to be funny. It's either funny or annoying because first-person shooter with just published by Squanch Games. So I think they have some sort of affiliation with like Adult Swim. I might be completely wrong on that, but you get the idea, right? So very tongue-in-cheek, inappropriate, and funny. Your gun is constantly talking to you, talking trash, or like giving you tips, or whipping out some maybe unfunny jokes constantly. But the game looks good. I heard it's a little bit lackluster in terms of variety and gunplay. Like it kind of overstays its welcome. Doesn't do a whole lot very good. But I remember seeing previews for this game and being intrigued by the concept, and the graphics looked cool. So I picked it up. I might have fun with this one. Gory Cuddly Carnage. Yeah, I came across an old YouTube channel that I used to like, and the guy there said this was one of his games of the year for 2024. A game that definitely does not take itself too seriously. A game that doesn't come out nowadays as much, right? It's the concept is weird. You're a cat on a hoverboard, and you just decimate hordes of zombie unicorns. It's very gory, very bloody, just over the top action, but just kind of the type of game that doesn't really surface these days too much, right? We're either on our 30th iteration of Call of Duty or the next, I don't know, free to play live service third person shooter game. No, it kind of harkens back to the PS2 era when you would find peculiar games that never got sequels, but they were awesome in their own right. So think of it like that. Action, bloody. I've only played about 45 minutes of this one, and it looks to be a fun one, to be honest. So I'm going to continue playing this one. Bomb Rush Cyberpunk on the PS5. The spiritual successor to Jet Set Radio. So, roller blading, extreme sports, skating, graffiti, down with the system, mission-based extreme sport game of sorts. Yeah, maybe not the best way to describe the game, but I did hear that it was the spiritual successor to Jet Set Radio. And if I'm not mistaken, the studio that put this game out was closed inexplicably, and a lot of people were upset by that. Let me know what you think. Am I wrong? Am I completely wrong in saying that? I'm not really sure, but love the cover here. It looks cool. Spider-Man 2. Yes, Spider-Man 2, the sequel to, what is it, 2017 Spider-Man or something? Awesome game, open world, beautiful graphics, awesome action. Haven't played it myself yet. This was a gift, a Christmas gift from my wife. And there was something weird that happened with the first run of this game. Some of the CDs didn't have any data on them. I haven't tested mine out. Hopefully it works, because that would suck. Black Myth Wukong, the game that everyone was talking about last year. Was it because it was a monkey, or was it because it's another kind of sort of Souls-like game? I've played about an hour and a half of this game. It is graphically stunning. The action is very good, but I haven't been sucked in by it just yet. It's most likely because I'm juggling 1,000 other games currently, but I do want to give this game the time it deserves, because it's a lesser known publisher at the time when this game came out, and it made a splash in the community. People loved this game. They said it was fantastic. People that wouldn't normally game just started playing this game. And even though it's hard, those people persevered. So that's a testament to how good the game actually is. The opening cinematic is epic. The story's very epic. So yeah, I need to continue playing this monkey game. Alan Wake 2, the deluxe edition. The game they said was never going to be published physically. It sure was. And it includes a digital edition of Part 1, which I haven't played yet. I have that game separately. Yeah. Everyone rants and raves over the Alan Wake series. I'm going to have to check it out for myself, because too many people love this game for me not to know anything about it. Here it is. Obviously, I'll play part 1 and then move on to this bad boy and see what it's all about. But some supernatural action horror stuff happening in this universe, right? Some similarities or overlap with Control. That game was awesome, so I'm curious. The Last Faith. My brother played through this retro-style Metroidvania, and he said it was awesome. He said it was very, very awesome. Just some tweaking to the controls at first, and then you should be all set. But it kind of has like this Bloodborne, gothic setting to the Metroidvania. So it looks neat. I like Metroidvanias. I like Bloodborne, and I like a good challenge, and this game seems to have wrapped them all up into one package. Metaphor Refantasio by Atlas. So for fans of the Shin Megami Tensei series and Persona, this is going to be right up your alley. You have, a couple hundred hours worth of gameplay, surely, in this game. Turn-based RPG, cel-shaded style graphics with a very, very compelling story, a very interesting narrative to follow along here. I actually poured 50 hours into this game, and I enjoyed what I experienced. I thought the battle system was great. I put it on hard mode so that I could challenge myself, but really, I wish there was an easy mode for the dialogue, am I right? Because that's what I found most difficult of this game, just focusing on the story. It's like there's a lot of dialogue, a lot of lore dumps going on in this game, and I just wasn't in the right mood to be playing through an entire game that was like that. Once you figure out the gameplay loop, you know exactly what you're in for, and there's again a lot of narrative in that gameplay loop, which is fantastic for story and character development. But again, I just was more in a pick up and play mood. I think when this game came out, it still gripped me. It gripped me for 50 hours, but I just kind of left it, and it's fallen off for me in my personal rotation for a while now. It might be a little bit hard to get back into it after so many weeks of not playing it, but this game might not be for everyone. It will be for the Shin Megami and Persona fans. They will love this game because it's kind of like a combination of both. It gets like it borrows elements from both franchises and it puts it into one. So I'm sure we'll see more titles under the Metaphor banner, but yeah, I just couldn't really get into this one. Or maybe I could, but I missed a weekend, and one weekend turned into two, and it just fell off for me. But check this game out if you're a diehard RPG fan, because this is a good one. This is a really good game. Last PS5 game is another fantastic RPG. They finally reprinted some Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. This version includes all the DLC that has come out for the game. It became extremely hard to find a PS5 copy of this, if I'm not mistaken. And prices were skyrocketing on those games, but then, they made some more. Of course, as you guys all know, this is the reimagining, sort of re-release, completely updated graphics, like complete overhaul in the graphics department for Final Fantasy VII, the classic, one of the best RPGs of all time. And this game has taken some maybe creative liberties in the story. I'm not going to spoil anything, but they've already released the second part to this. I think it's going to be a trilogy when all is said and done. And I couldn't resist the FOMO of waiting for a possible triple pack release when the third part finally comes out, or whatever the final part is, whether it's the fourth, fifth, sixth. I'm not really sure. I am not going to run the risk of having this game going out of print again. So I buckled, and I had to pull the trigger on obtaining a copy of it for myself. Now I need to get Reborn or Rebirth. Let's just do the singular Game Boy Advance game. Gauntlet, Dark Legacy. Just yeah, this game was on consoles, but it got a handheld port, so it's a little rough around the edges. Kind of a dungeon crawling, isometric view dungeon crawler. Yeah, not much to say about it other than it intrigued me, and it even came with a little manual. So I was like, yeah, I'll take that. Let's go back to the PlayStation theme here. Fear Effect 2 Retro Helix. So my brother recently gifted me a copy of part 1 of this series, and as soon as I saw part 2, being the frenzied collector that I am, I had to complete the series. I have no idea what this game is about or what it's like, but it's the 4-disc version here. I believe I'm missing the manual, which I just realized, and that's going to drive me crazy, but a nice copy of it otherwise. Loaded, a Christmas gift from my brother. Thanks for this awesome top-down shooter. I completely had forgotten that I had put this game on my wish list. And yeah, just a level-based top-down shooter with plenty of blood and gore and you just make your ways through the levels and hopefully complete them with one of several oddball characters that very much embody the late 90s attitude of video games. So you have like a psychotic clown, you have like a mutant baby, stuff like that. Really cool piece to add to my collection. So body bag not included. Like, look at that. This game's just oozing attitude. Calm down. And my brother hooked it up in that Christmas gift. With part 2, we got Reloaded, the hardcore sequel. I haven't checked this one out yet. Or yeah, I did very briefly. A lot of people will say that the graphics kind of got downgraded with this one, or like it didn't really have the same magic as the first one. But I'm happy to complete a series, so here it is. Reloaded. Got a couple PS2 games. Beatdown Fists of Vengeance, published by Capcom here. I remember checking this game out at my brother's house. It is pretty much a 3D brawler. You walk around the city, complete missions, beat people up. I had fun playing it. The controls are a little weird, they're antiquated. They might take some getting used to, but a good game once you do. The last PlayStation related game on the whole video, Automodelista, a racing game that I've been looking out for a long time. And wow, let me just say that the visual style in this game, since it's cel shaded, it looks like the cover. Like, this is what the game looks like. Very impressive. It uses real world car manufacturers. So you have like Toyota, Nissan, Honda, Subaru, Mitsubishi, Mazda, and more. And the game feels a little bit floaty. Like, controlling the car is a bit difficult. I would say, I guess, it's more realistic than it is arcadey, but there are some overlaps between the two styles of gameplay in this game. And I've had a ton of fun playing this game and customizing my Mustang GT. That's the car that I'm using right now. Different, like the courses are pretty different from each other, so you won't get bored in terms of variety there. Very, very cool racing game. I'm super happy to have this in my collection. I highly recommend Automodelista if you like racing games and cars, because you can tune them up pretty good. We got Trauma Center, New Blood, published by Atlas. You're a doctor, and you use the Wii motion controls to operate on your patients that get more and more weird with every operation, I think, right? Like, there might be eliminating alien viruses inside someone's body, or just, I don't know. I haven't played it, but I've seen some things, and it looks wacky. So we have New Blood here. And Trauma Center Second Opinion was sitting right next to it, so why not? Decided to pick this one up as well. I think there's another one called like Trauma Center Team Trauma. I don't know. It's a third Trauma Center style game on the Wii, and that one was missing the manual, so I just decided to leave it. But now I'm kind of looking out for it. I guess more crazy operations in this one. Power Punch. Oh man, this was a pleasant surprise. When I visited my brother, we went to an awesome game store that had this sealed, and I was like, well, I've been looking for this game for a while now, so might as well get it factory sealed, and this game did not disappoint. The cel-shaded style in this game has held up so well. It has some pretty awesome music to get you pumped. Now, the difficulty level in this game might be my only gripe that I have towards it, because like sometimes you'll be beating up like a chick and she'll just be almost dead, and she hits you with like a tiny jab and your head just explodes and you die. Like, I don't know what's up with the rubber banding there, if that's what we want to call it, but the other thing is, like, you must use a Nintendo Wii Classic controller for this game. Please, For the love of God, do not use motion controllers in this game. They're completely unresponsive, almost, I'd say, borderline broken. So just do yourself a favor, experience the awesomeness of this game with a classic style controller, because then you're actually pushing buttons, you know what you're doing instead of flailing around like a dummy. And yeah, just really cool. It's an Xseed game. Currently, my personal mission is to unlock every fighter, and you just have to basically go through an arcade mode and beat them, and they're automatically unlocked. Very just like no bells and whistles here when it comes to Xseed games, but so much fun. This is a cool game, a cool boxing game to have in your Wii collection. Just don't use motion controllers on it, please. One last Wii game, Dino Strike, published by Zoo, and it's compatible with the Wii Zapper. But just don't use the Wii Zapper, or maybe I can't recall. I'm actually using the Nyko Perfect Shot for this game, just because some buttons on the D-pad are more easily accessible in this format, whereas like the Wii Zapper has you holding different parts of the gun and stuff. So this is an on-rail shooter in which you kill dinosaurs and make your way through 6 levels. There's different weapons and stuff. Pretty solid little on-rail shooter, to be honest. And you can play with up to 4 players. Jeez. I almost 100% of this game. I'm just missing a couple dino eggs on the final stage. The camera moves around a little bit too fast for me on that one, which is why I haven't. There is no brown T-Rex. It's green. So it's just weird, art, probably clip art or something that they found somewhere on the internet. And it's I like this. This is a good Zapper game to add to your Wii collection. Keep your eyes peeled for Dino Strike. A lone Wii U game. This is a weird one. You might say Call of Duty Black Ops 2, Blops 2. Yeah. At some point I was watching Metal Jesus, and he was saying how the Wii U version of this game was really good and that you should definitely get it for some reason. So you have the campaign multiplayer, which doesn't exist anymore. Zombies, I'm not sure if you can play by yourself, don't really care, but I do want to play through the campaign, and I have been. I think I'm like a mission or 2 deep in it, because a lot of people loved Blops, or Blops 2, I think is everyone's favorite. They said that it was like the apex that Call of Duty reached at some point was this game. So I'm curious. I want to see what it's all about. I mean, it plays fine, looks fine on the Wii U. I'm using the Pro controller for it. So yeah, stay tuned to hear more thoughts on this. We got a couple GameCube games. Killer 7. One of the, what was it, the Capcom 5, right? Capcom was going to publish 5 exclusive GameCube games, and they never published the 5th. I think it was called like Dead Phoenix or something. But here's Killer 7. A cel-shaded, very zany first-person shooter with it's just like a trippy game, I guess I could call it. Just it gets a little bit more deranged the more you play it. I haven't had any experience with this game myself, but I know it's one of the GameCube games that's a little bit more sought after. Dual disc here, very nice and complete. I'm gonna have to check this game out at some point. I heard it's pretty crazy. So here it is. Last GameCube game is Mega Man Network Transmission. Another Capcom game, actually. This is one of the Mega Man games that I didn't really know much of. Like, Network Transmission. This, to my knowledge, this game is not included on any of the various Capcom Mega Man compilation discs that they've done in the past. So it might be a unique experience, which you can only play on the GameCube. I might be mistaken on that, but I heard this game is decent and tough as nails. So, yeah. Guys, 2 more games. 2 more games. Another limited run game that I was waiting on for a long time. We have an actual NES cartridge, A Boy and His Blob, Trouble in Bloblonia. That's right, we have real hardware here. It's sealed in an NES style box. I have yet to open it. I don't think I will anytime soon. I just noticed this crease on the side, which will probably make me open it. But yeah, if it was pristine, I would probably just leave it. Little charming puzzle game in which you're a boy and your friend is a blob that turns into different objects to help you solve puzzles. So that's neat. Love that. Love the packaging. And last but certainly not least, I treated myself on my birthday with Bucky O'Hare on the NES. This is pretty much, think of a Mega Man clone featuring Bucky O'Hare, which I think was a cartoon from back in like the Dark Age. I don't know. It's pretty old. I don't think Bucky's with us anymore, but yeah, you go through the levels, unlock a power-up that you could use on a different level, and you're rescuing your friends. But yeah, the gameplay is essentially Mega Man. An awesome staple to add to the collection. And yeah, I'm pooped. We talked about a lot of games today. Guys, let me know what you thought of the video, your favorite pickup of this one. I know it was a bit of a long one. I had to kind of blaze through some of the games. After 67 games, I think I have extended my backlog by about 500 more hours. So I'll catch you guys on the next pickups video. Check out the streams. That's where most of the content makes its way more frequently. Thank you so much for sitting tight and checking out the games. Okay, bye.